in this video, we're going to talk about topic 10.2, and we're going to talk about example 3. So in this example, I'm going to change the number to 0.50 repeating rather than the number that's there. This is more of an informational one, just in case it pops up anywhere. It's kind of a nice to know. It is an algebra thing. So we're going to rewrite this as geometric series and express it as a fraction, basically. So the first thing I would do is let's write out what that repeating decimal really looks like. It looks like that. So if I was going to try to write that as a series, we would write it as 5 over 100 plus 5 over, and I'm just putting the number of zeros, 1000 plus 5 over, and let's see, this time I would need 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So 5 over a million. So I could, and then plus ... I could rewrite that as 5 over 10 squared plus 5 over 10 to the 4th plus 5 over 10 to the 6th plus ... I could rewrite that pattern though as 5 over 10 squared plus 5 over 10 squared times 10 squared plus 5 over 10 squared times 10 to the 4th plus ... And so I'm basically trying to see what is repeated and what is the ratio. So I am noticing I could technically have, so I'm looking for my first term and I'm looking for my ratio. I am noticing the 10 squared is repeating in all of these. So my ratio that I'm going to use is I'm going to use the 10 squared. So my R is going to be 1 over 10 squared, because I noticed that in all of them. My A is going to be the 5 over 10 squared. So that's where the 5 gets repeated because that's the first term. So if I'm going to put this into the summation formula that we had up here for geometrics, I'm using this. Okay. So this is the sum is n equals 0 to infinity of my first term 5 over 10 squared times my ratio 1 over 10 squared to the n power. And then I'm going to also try to find the sum. So I'm supposed to be trying to find this as a fraction. So I'm guessing I almost didn't really need that ratio, but it's good practice because we might have to do that later on in the unit. So I know that 5, oops, I totally have this written wrong. My decimal, I totally wrote it wrong here. And that's what this is going to make it make way more sense. It should have been 0.05. So it's 0.5 repeating on that. So that makes those fractions way more sense now. So 0.5 equals my first term. So I'm going to use the formula A over 1 minus R to write this as a fraction. So I know my first term is 5 over 10 squared. And then I'm going to do 1 minus my ratio, which is the same. I could rewrite this as 1 over, I could write that as a squared. So 1 over 10 squared. So that's the same as saying 5 over 100 over 1 minus 1 over 100. Or I could rewrite the 1 as 100 over 100. So when I go to simplify this, I get 5 over 100 over 99 over 100. And we know when we have those denominators the same that they cancel out. So we end up with 5 over 99.